one criticism I have of this chamber is I don't think John Cena should have won.
The Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
Heyo, and what is up, gang? Thank you for checking out the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show right here on Sledgehammer TV. My name is Nick Nightmare, and in this episode, we are going to talk about everything wrong with last night's Elimination Chamber PLE put on by the WWE. And the very first thing that I could say is wrong with this show is the fact that there's not much wrong with this show for me to tear apart. This was a fantastic show. I enjoyed the show from beginning to end. 4 very good matchups, bookended by 2 insane moments that both will live on in the history of WWE for years and years to come. This was one of those nights that while you're watching it, you don't even realize just how impactful this night was for the WWE and professional wrestling as a whole. Because the big story coming out of the Elimination Chamber is John Cena going heel, joining forces with his arch nemesis, The Rock, to be the new People's Champion, to be The Rock's corporate champion, to be partners with the corporation, the new corporation of TKO and The Rock. It's just something that many people didn't expect to happen because John Cena has always been very adamant that he was never going to turn heel again ever since he became the You Can't See Me #1, what is it called? The Make-A-Wish, #1 Make-A-Wish requested guy in the history of Make-A-Wish, and you never expected him to go this way. But he turns around and he pulls a Hulk Hogan and he says, "Fuck you," to the entire world by joining forces with The Rock. It was amazing. It made me think back to other similar moments in WWE history when Stone Cold Steve Austin united with Vince McMahon to defeat The Rock at WrestleMania X7, 17, whichever one you prefer to call it. It's just, it's a goosebump inducing. Right, let's make fun of The Rock. You see my goosebumps just talking about it? I'm The Rock right now. Alright, but I digress. This is, as Triple H said going into the Elimination Chamber, an industry-shifting type of show. I was unsure going into it whether or not Cody Rhodes would be the one to accept it. Let's be honest, the act's gotten a little stale, right? We all still pretty much love Cody. He does have some people that are starting to go against him. Like, all right, enough with the babyface, goody-goody garbage, right? But here, with a master stroke, they get everybody behind Cody Rhodes again, because it's not just Cody versus The Rock. It's not just Cody versus John Cena. It's Cody versus John Cena and The Rock on the same page. And that is going to lead us down one of the most tumultuous roads to WrestleMania I think any of us has ever endured. It was very special. It was great to see that they went this way. I'm glad they didn't go with Punk. I'm glad they didn't make it Drew McIntyre. And I'm also glad that Cody wasn't the one to accept it in the end. Although he is a very good heel when he wants to be, I just didn't feel like this is the direction they needed to go with Cody aligning with The Rock, unless his final intention would have been to turn on The Rock at WrestleMania and make The Rock believe he was his champion, only to say, no, go screw yourself later on down the line. But instead, we got something much, much better. And I am very much looking forward to the future of this story going forward. And let's not leave out the fact that CM Punk although he lost the Elimination Chamber, still has that favor in his back pocket, and I wouldn't be surprised if somehow he gets Paul Heyman to cash that favor in and have him inserted into the main event of WrestleMania, which will be John Cena versus CM Punk versus World Heavyweight Champion Cody Rhodes. It's one of the many, many ways they could go down this path. So let's talk about the show from start to finish. The very first match, we started off with the Women's Elimination Chamber, as we normally do in most cases. And this was actually one of my favorite matches of the night. Not just because of the way the chamber itself went down. It was a very intense match. There were some really great spots. One of my favorite spots was actually pulled off by one of my least favorite people, Liv Morgan, which is when she had a hold of Bianca Belair by her long-ass ponytail and was sending her into the cage and pulling her back with her ponytail, bouncing her off the ropes back and forth multiple times, using Bianca's own momentum against her to continuously ram her into the cage. There were so many amazing moments that were pulled off by all the girls that were in this chamber, being won in the end by Bianca Belair after the biggest upset for me was Alexa Bliss being eliminated. She was, for me, the favorite to win this whole thing. I thought Bianca was going to be busy with other things going on to WrestleMania, and that still might be the case, because the biggest story about this chamber as well was not actually what happened at the chamber or in the chamber, but what happened before the chamber, as we had the return of Jade Cargill, who got into the Elimination Chamber before the match was able to start and was laser focused on Naomi. She beat the ever-loving shit out of this poor girl, ending it by smashing her ribs with the door of the Elimination Chamber. It was brutal, it was vicious, it was seemingly justified, right? Because Naomi's the one that did it. Or is she? I want to throw this out there to you guys. I still believe that in the end, we are going to be told, or going to find out, that it was Bianca Belair all along. That's right. One of the reasons, if you watch that match, one of those reasons that makes me feel that Bianca is still the one behind it is the way she was reacting to Naomi getting her ass kicked by Jade Cargill. Bianca was distraught. She was in tears. And while, yes, this is her friend, and she's now trapped and she can't help, and she's watching her friend be brutalized by her other friend, my belief is that a lot of that emotion comes from the place of Bianca knowing that Naomi didn't even do anything. Bianca knows that Bianca did it. And now Bianca had to watch Naomi pay the price for something that Bianca Belair did, which is only going to enrage Bianca even more. The only thing that I didn't really like about the whole of the Women's Elimination Chamber segment, the Jade Cargill involvement and the match and the winner, is that when Bianca won, she was, justifiably so, celebrating her win and pointing to the sign, as you need to do, because now she's headed to WrestleMania to fight either Rhea Ripley or Io Sky, is that she didn't really show any emotion or any reaction, or seems to completely forget what happened at the start of the match with Naomi. When she entered the chamber, when her number was called and her cage was open and she exited into the ring, her first instinct was to go and check Naomi and probably get involved with this and squash this before it got even worse. But she was held back by Liv Morgan and stayed in the match for its entirety, ending up winning it despite being put through some hellacious stuff in this match. Very good match, very much worth going back to watch. But you would think that after the match, she'd be like, all right, open this cage. I won. I'm happy. Open this cage. Let me out. I got to get back to my girls and see what's going on. And then, of course, there was no follow-up, probably intentional, so that we will all tune in on Monday night or Friday, wherever this ends up landing, to see where it goes going forward. Great stuff. Happy to see Jade Cargill back. I think there's still a lot more to this story than meets the eye. And if it does come down to simply Jade coming back and getting her revenge on Naomi, and that's just the story going forward, that's fine too. Because Bianca's going to be busy on her way to a world title. However, if my other scenario happens to be true, and let's say Bianca Belair is the one that actually beat the shit out of Jade, maybe Jade Cargill gets herself involved in the main event of WrestleMania for the women. And somehow within these next 6 weeks, she will be inserted, and maybe the women's match will be a triple threat. Maybe even a fatal four-way if you want to throw in Io Sky or Rhea to have a rematch, whoever ends up victorious, which I'm pretty sure Rhea Ripley's not going to lose. The bigger build, the bigger match to build is Bianca versus Rhea. Even bigger still if you throw Jade in there and then round it out with an Io Sky. That would be a great fatal four-way. And then even Jade, that's where you could give her first championship win. Getting her revenge on Bianca Belair. Big WrestleMania moment going forward. I know some people aren't that high on Jade Cargill. I happen to really think she's going to be special. I think has the capability to be a star. You don't always have to be the best in-ring person, right? Look at fucking John Cena. 25 years. He was never the best in the ring, but his personality and his charisma and everything about him got over. Everybody fucking loved him. That certainly is a possibility with somebody like Jade Cargill going forward. Whether you like her or not, that might be the road that we're on. We'll all have to hang out and wait and see. The tag team match. Trishy time and Tiffy time. I fucking hate it. Trishy and Tiffy time. Oh, talk about a cringe slogan. Anyway, I get it. They're having fun. They're trying to get this little thing over. They're in Toronto. Trish being there almost seems like a mandatory thing. Did she need to be in the match? Probably not. Could we have had a one-on-one with Trish as a manager? Probably. With the crowd giving a shit? Probably just about as much as they did here. You have to understand it's not the girl's fault in this situation, but after being put through that women's elimination chamber, no match could follow that. To the girls' credit, they got the crowd into the match about halfway through. Tiffy and Trish come out on top to the surprise of nobody. The biggest surprise of this match for me is that there were not many mistakes made by Nia Jax. It did seem a little, sloppy at times. I think the match maybe went on a little too long, but it was fun. It was great to see Trish back. Not so great in another way because she, like many of the other women in the world of professional wrestling, decide to surgically alter their looks and their faces, and they don't quite look how they used to. My brain looks at this version of Trish Stratus and says that something is off. Something is wrong. That is not Trish Stratus, even though I know for a fact that it is. That's just me. I'm not trying to be mean, not trying to be a dick about it. I'm just calling it like I see it, as I always do. Good tag team match at the end of the day. Hopefully this moves Tiffy time away from Nia and Candice and this whole story so that she can focus on Robo Charlotte or fake Charlotte or alien Charlotte Flair going forward. Charlotte, not Charlotte. We can call her going forward. My favorite match of the night was also my least favorite match of the night, and it was Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens. It's my favorite match because this is long-term storytelling 101. And it's based just a little bit in reality, which is where the sweet spot is for pro wrestling stories. These guys have been friends since they're teenagers. They've fought each other been teammates, been against each other, been enemies, back and forth, maybe more times than the Big Show decided to turn Beal. Let's try that again. More times than the Big Show actually turned heel or babyface, which, if you know anything, that's a lot. This match is a culmination of these two guys. Might not be the last time we even see them fight because it turned out so good, and the heel, Kevin Owens, ended up coming out with the victory in this vicious, violent, unsanctioned match. They went so far as to actually deliver sort of headshots with chairs, which is something you don't really see anymore. We had a chair wrapped in barbed wire, which is something we definitely do not see anymore. Sami Zayn had an uphill battle from the start of this thing. There was no way he was going to come out on top without a miracle. And this miracle on this night would not come, despite a couple of great flourishes towards the end where it seemed like Sami was going to pull this out. There were so many near falls, beautiful near falls, that got everybody in the arena, including myself and my family watching on the couch at home. So many times we thought that 3 was going to get hit, only for these guys to kick out and go on to destroy one another even further. It was something to see. It was way more brutal than I actually thought the WWE was going to let them do. I know it's unsanctioned, but you also know that it's not really unsanctioned, right? And that it's all part of the storyline, it's all part of the show. And they really took their handcuffs off and let them go. And I was very grateful to see it. It was a great match. Kevin Owens comes out on top. But as with some of the other biggest matches of the night, that's not the real story. This ridiculously violent match between these two bitter enemies that used to be so close as brothers almost murdered each other in this ring. And the thing everybody's talking about is the return of Randy Orton, because Randy still needs his revenge for Kevin Owens doing what he did to him earlier, at the end of last year, rather. And that was a very unexpected stroke for me. I didn't expect to see Randy Orton. I thought for sure somebody was going to come out, but for some reason, I guess I had a brain fart, and I forgot Randy was part of this whole thing because it's been such a long time since we've seen him. But kudos to them for doing this, bringing him back, and essentially setting up Kevin Owens versus Randy Orton for WrestleMania. Sammy's probably going to be out for a while, considering, and very, very smart by the WWE to have Kevin Owens go back after we thought he was done with all the brutality. He was going to go back and finish the job and really injure Sami Zayn, only for Randy's music to hit, save him at the last minute. Kevin Owens gets hit with an RKO out of nowhere, and on we go. This story can continue. It was done very well, and going forward, Kevin Owens now is the one that's in trouble. Randy Orton's the original fucking crazy guy. Well, I shouldn't say the original, because Brian Pillman really was the original loose cannon of pro wrestling. And then Randy kind of took over, right? Randy does crazy things like show up at your house and threaten Triple H and do crazy things like kiss Stephanie McMahon while he has Triple H handcuffed in the corner and crazy shit, like real mental serial killer type shit. And Kevin Owens does that kind of shit as well. Kevin Owens, we just seen him showing up outside Sami Zayn's house, watching his family have a nice evening, stalking them, essentially. And now you have these two very similar, very devious bastards about to hook up and finally put an end to this RKO thing one way or another. Great stuff all night long, especially in the men's Elimination Chamber. Best field we've had in a while, with the exception of Logan fucking Paul, right? Star-studded Elimination Chamber. Drew McIntyre, CM Punk, John Cena, Damian Priest. Man, talk about heavy hitters. Seth Rollins. And then Logan Paul. Gives a shit. He should have been out a lot quicker. But whatever. He served his purpose in the match. I still feel like that spot should have went to like an LA Knight. Or somebody on that level. But that's just me. Elimination Chamber. Really, really great. Very intense. Very hard hitting. Lots of near falls once again. CM Punk, the odds-on favorite by everybody for the most part. I really enjoyed the Chamber. I thought it was one of the better Chambers that we've had in a long time. Maybe not the best ever. I mean, it's very hard to top the first couple because it's always hard to beat the first one. Shawn Michaels won the inaugural Elimination Chamber at Survivor Series in 2002. That was like something because we never seen it before, right? So like it was new, it was different, and it always stands out. And it is among one of my favorite ones ever. This, although definitely ranks among some of the top chamber matches we've had. Sometimes we get them and they're just lame as shit. But this time there was so much personal stuff and so much interpersonal tension between all 5 of these guys that the intensity was just there right from the start. And I really give everybody credit that went out there and put their asses on the line for this match. The one criticism I have of this chamber is I don't think John Cena should have won. And I don't think that because of the way it would end anyway, right? It would kind of make more sense for John Cena to make this decision and do what he did and join forces with The Rock if he lost the chamber. Cena's won the chamber. Cena winning the chamber gives him what he wants. The main event spot at WrestleMania and a chance to win the World Championship for the 17th time and break Ric Flair's record. So you did it. You didn't need The Rock, right? You did it on your own because nobody could see you in there. So you lasted longer than everybody else. You won. And then you became the corporate champion. It would have made more sense if you really think about it. To have Punk win, Cena gets screwed. So now he has even further motivation, not just because he lost the Royal Rumble. He would have lost the Royal Rumble and the chamber. And now it would have been like, what choice does he have? Other than to join forces with The Rock. You didn't have to have Cody make his decision at the chamber. You got 6 weeks of TV to fill. No pay-per-view, no PLE in between Elimination Chamber and WrestleMania. We got 6 weeks of nothing. You could have done so much. You could have dragged it on. You could have waited a couple of weeks out, 4 weeks before or a full month before, and then do the big reveal. But they did it this way. And it was great. It was great. I'm actually just nitpicking at this point because I enjoyed it. And I think going forward, it's going to be really good for everybody involved. I don't understand the need for Travis Scott, who was just standing there. He said nothing. He did nothing the whole night. Why was this necessary? I don't know. But at least he didn't take away from it. He just kind of stood there as if he was like one of The Rock's goons. Like The Rock's backup. Like he's going to do something to Cody Rhodes. I don't know. I don't know. But those are the small things that I thought were not really, if I could criticize him, this is what you'd get. The whole Travis Scott thing, and I don't really think that Cena should have won the chamber if the goal was to make him The Rock's guy. It just would have made more sense the other way. And then you could have continued the story of Punk, and everything would have melded together. Now it seems as if we're on the road of a bunch of very interesting singles matches, which if you watched the Chamber. You've seen them already set up. Damian Priest possibly going against Drew McIntyre. We're going to have Punk versus Rollins, almost as certain as death. It's probably going to be the direction for them WrestleMania going forward. And then, of course, you have the winner, John Cena, going to face Cody Rhodes. And now there is one other huge question that nobody has asked yet, and nobody has talked about yet, to my understanding. And it's a very big question. And it's what should be on the very front of everybody's minds that are involved. John Cena, Cody Rhodes, and The Rock. What the hell does Roman think about what the fuck is going on now? Right? Roman's not gone yet. He might be on his way out, but he ain't gone yet. He's gonna be back. He's gonna be back before Mania. And he's gonna have something to say. And I'm very interested to see what that something is gonna be. Is he gonna be on board with his cousin, the final boss, and his decision-making skills, and bringing John Cena aboard to be his number one guy? Or is Roman gonna be like, dude, what the fuck, man? I'm right here, bro. Like, what are we doing? I don't know. Lots of interesting questions. Lots of interesting answers. Going to be headed our way as the road to WrestleMania heats up. And we are in for one hell of a ride. Thank you guys so much for checking out this show today. If you had a good time here, make sure you hit the like button down below. Do the subscribe and all the YouTube things that YouTube needs you to do so that the algorithm knows that we exist. We're still not in a position to be doing weekly reviews. To anybody who is wondering why we're not doing Raw and SmackDown all the time anymore. My schedule doesn't call for it. If I can get one up here and there, I will. I promise. But for the most part, we are just doing PLE reviews and special events going forward on the regular. And I hope to see you guys here for the next one, the two-night WrestleMania from Las Vegas, which is really starting to take shape. My name is Nick Nightmare. This has been the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. Click one of these other videos if you want to hear my opinions on whatever those videos say. And I will see you here for the next one. Have a good one.